So we are continuing with law number 1 of exponents, grade 8. And I just want to introduce you now to some complex examples. A quick recap, we know now if I have x squared and I multiply this by x cubed, then I'm going to get x2 plus 3, and this is x to the exponent 5. Later on, we will not be using this step because now we will be computing it in our minds. So try and get used to this idea. Now, I highlighted that if I have 3p squared, then it means I must have 3p times 3p, because that's what brackets means. Remember, bad mass, I spoke about this. Bad mass, you distribute exponents first through the brackets before you can divide, multiply, add, or subtract. Okay, you must first do what the exponent says, to the bracket. Right now, when you have something like this, I want to bring your attention to something that is very critical in mathematics. You must know first that you have to multiply the number by that number and the variable by that variable. So that's what you're going to do first. So in other words, you are allowed to do this. And that's what we just call the associative property. The order of multiplication does not really matter, okay? But the idea here is I want to put numbers next to each other. This step is not that important anyways. What you just need to realize, or why I'm putting it, is to emphasize the fact that you must multiply number by number, variable by variable, or letter by letter. So 3 times 3 is 9. P times P is what? Is P squared, because we do not have a value for P. So it's a variable. We just apply that law right there. The next type of example that I want to show you, and perhaps before that, I must address something. If we multiply expressions in mathematics, whenever we multiply expressions in mathematics, suppose I have minus 3x and I want to multiply this by 5x. Okay, there is an order that we must follow. There are no brackets at this point. There are no exponents at this point. You can see, if anything, the exponent there is 1. So we just say there are no exponents because 1 is invisible, always invisible in mathematics. It's a special number. Now, I want you to learn this. Always start by multiplying signs first, then multiply numbers, then finally letters. This is what I call SNL. Whenever you're going to multiply two terms in mathematics, start first by multiplying the signs, then the numbers, and the letters. In multiplying the signs, it is important to note the following, and I will write here note 1. When you multiply a negative sign with a negative sign, the result is a positive sign. If you multiply a negative sign and a positive sign, the result is a negative sign. If you multiply a positive sign and a positive sign, the result is positive. Now, we also need to note that you can divide signs at times. And the same rule applies whenever you divide signs. Whenever you divide expressions, first of all, divide the signs, then the numbers and the letters. So like multiplication, the same rule applies. If you divide a negative sign and a negative sign rather, you will get a positive. But if you divide a negative sign with a positive sign or a positive sign with a negative sign, you will get a negative. If you divide a positive sign by a positive sign, you will get a positive. This is very crucial because you will see there will now be tricky examples that will be introduced, and you will need to remember this. Make sure that you don't memorize, but you understand what this means. It is very important. We're gonna get to the issue of negative exponents later on, and I need you to therefore to understand, to be very sharp when we get to that section. So let's quickly solve this, and then we move on to more complex, complicated examples. So if I have minus 3x and I'm multiplying this by 5x, don't worry, my handwriting will get better. The sign here is negative. What is the sign there? You see, like 1, we usually don't write the positive sign, okay? Just like we don't write the number 1. So we usually don't write the positive sign. But you must realize you have a negative sign times a positive, it's a negative. That sign's done. Numbers, 3 times 5, 15, done. Letters, x times x is what? Is x squared. Remember, I told you we're now going to omit that step. But if you want to try that, there you have x times x. Remember, the exponent there is 1, the exponent there is 1. And law 1 says we must add those two, and that should give us an x squared. I hope you understand and get that. I want you to try something before we move on to the next video. Try and multiply this for me. 3x squared times 2x to the exponent of 5. While at that, try also multiply x squared, y squared times x cubed, y cubed. In the next video, we will start by providing solutions to these two problems. Thank you for watching. Keep in touch.